All right, so I'll give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Pick us up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive no honor from men, but I know you, but I have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. And if another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe but receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you, the Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamaim. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom, Brother Marvin, man. You pick this up, Revelation 5:1. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong Malachim proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof. And no man in Shamaim, knowing their rats, neither under their rats, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not, and behold, the Lion of the tribe of Yehuda, the root of Dawood, have prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 ruachs of Elohim set forth into all their rest. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat on the throne upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sung a new song, saying, you are worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for you were slain and have redeemed us to Elohim by your blood out of every kindred, tongue, people, and nation. He has made unto us our Elohim kings and priests, and we shall reign on their wrath. And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many Malachim round about the throne, and the beasts and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power, riches, and wisdom, strength, honor, esteem, and blessing. Let's hit the Zechariah 4. Shalom, Brother Omar, man. Let's hit the Zechariah 4, man. Zechariah 4:1. And the Malachim that talked with me came again and waked me as a man that's waking out of his sleep. He said unto me, what see you? And I said, I've looked, and behold, a candlestick of all gold with a bowl upon the top of it, and the 7 lamps thereon, 7 pipes of the 7 lamps which are upon the top thereof, 2 olive trees by it, one upon the right of the bowl, and the other upon the left thereof. So I answered and spake to the Malachim that talked with me, saying, what are these, my Lord? Then the Malachim that talked with me answered and said unto me, know you not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of Yahuwah under Zerubbabel, saying, not by might, nor by power, but by my ruach, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Shalom, Miguel. Shalom, Jake. Say, who are you, O great mountain before Zerubbabel? You shall become a plain. He shall bring forth the headstone with shoutings, crying, grace, grace unto it. Moreover, the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house. His hands shall also finish it. And you shall know that Yahuwah of hosts have sent me unto you, who have despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice, and shall see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel with those 7. They are the eyes of Yahuwah which run to and fro through the whole of rats. Then answered I and said unto him, what are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick and upon the left side thereof? And I answered again and said unto him, what are these 2 olive branches, which through the 2 golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves? He answered me and said, know you not what these be? And he said, no, my Lord. Then he said, these are my 2 anointed ones that stand before the Lord of the whole earth. Now, of course, you know, we've been dealing with the 2 witnesses. And of course, because we named it after the seals in Revelation, we're going to have to deal with the seals. and briefly interweaving, the mystery of iniquity in the midst of it. But I'm gonna pick this up in Zechariah 5:1. We're gonna deal with those horses, because I mentioned that to you, because the horses is mentioned in Zechariah 6, that most people are familiar with in Revelation 5. And we'll deal with what that looks like. It's Zechariah 5:1. Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. He said to me, what see you? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof 20 cubits, the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then he said unto me, peace, Brother Joseph, man. Shalom, Brother Ernest, man. This is the curse that go forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that steals shall be cut off as his side according to it. Everyone that swear shall be cut off as on that side according to it. And I'll bring it forth, saith Yahuwah of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that swear falsely by my name. And it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timbers thereof and the stones thereof. Now keep this in mind as he's referring to his flying roll. He said this particular flying roll is going to go over the face of the whole earth, and everyone that steals is going to be cut off according to it. Everyone that swears is going to be cut off according to it. And it will consume the timber thereof and the stones thereof. So let's look and see what that means. First and foremost, Revelation 19 and 15. My bad. Make it 11. Revelation 19 and 11. And I saw the Shamahim open, and behold, a white horse. He that sat on it was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he do judge and make war. So let's pause, because we're talking about the seals. So let's look at this aspect of the seals. Pause, come to Revelation 11, which is referring to the seventh seal. My bad, that's the seventh trumpet. The seventh seal, we can get over here to the seventh seal. I'm thinking about the seventh trumpet. That's not what I want. 8 and 1. Now we'll look at the things that pertain to this here, because leading up to the seventh seal will get us up to the 7 trumpets, and then we go to Revelation 11. I got ahead of myself. And when he opened the 7th seal, this is Revelation 8 and 1, there was silence in Shamahim about the space of half an hour. Hold on, put this page for us. And I saw the 7 Malachim which stood before Elohim, and to them were given 7 trumpets. So this is the key component. Once the 7th seal is open, this is when the 7 trumpets are dispensed. I was talking with my dog Debo earlier, man. You know what I'm saying? And he was telling me about how, a lot of people be mentioning stuff, that church people say everything is a demon. You know what I'm saying? Or like, if your son got Down syndrome, it's because he got a demon. I'm going to mention this because you hear a lot of things, man, that don't necessarily be scripturally based. So we heard some talking about the mark of the beast, and we're going to deal with that too. That's what it was. You know what I'm saying? And he said that the name of the beast would be Joshua. And he said how we know that is to go to Joshua chapter 6. Some verses where the verses equal up to 666. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm not even making this up. But I'm mentioning stuff like this here, right? Because when you got a lot of people, man, like I told you before, right? That a lot of people, when you in theological spaces, you discuss certain things. I mentioned this here because like one of the homegirls who be kicking it in the room with it, she say when she go into rooms like with nigger rooms, they call it the dark side, and they try to have biblical conversations. What's happening, Rohan? She said she get frustrated because she realized these people don't know what they're talking about when you coming from a space where people who talk about the word every day. Now, and you talk about that side of the world where people talk about the word every day, if people who are in a scholastic environment would call it a quasi theological environment, but it's a theological environment. But why did I mention all this here? Because lately everybody been talking about what's called eschatology, which is like, I guess, the breaking down of the study of the end times. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. And what you'll find out is about 95. That's what he said. The 6th verse in the 6th chapter of the 6th book. That's what he said. Because he was saying that his name is Jesus, and they want you to use another name, and that's the name of the beast. Dude, real big on that. You know what I'm saying? That's his thing. But nevertheless, I mention this here because when you get down to it, about 95% of people who deal with the word, possibly even 97, don't even know what's in the word. So what happens is that people repeat things that they've heard. Case in point, a lot of people have heard, oh, when it rains, when the sun is out. Shalom, Brother Robert. When it rains, when the sun is out, that means the devil beating his wife. You know what I'm saying? Or people have heard the, oh, come as you are. Now, I don't even look at it as being annoying, but I could understand why you would be annoyed with it, because I can make the delineation from people who are in theological spaces and people who are not. You know what I'm saying? Just because coming from, I ain't know no word like that before being in the word, so it didn't matter to me. You know what I'm talking about? To know, like, boom, boom, boom. Because I mentioned, we were talking about it before, right? Say if your child, somebody get cancer, they say, oh, that's the devil. I'm only mentioning this here because it referenced what we talked about a few weeks ago when he was talking about, everything is time and chance. Because most people are not told that some things are just time and chance. God's not involved. The devil's not involved. It's just time and occasion. And that's it. That's hard for people to fathom. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to look at it like somebody orchestrated and pulled this string. Let's say your people get murdered. And the first thing that a lot of black folks will be like, I know God don't make no mistakes. God didn't have nothing to do with that. You know what I'm talking about? Now, of course, are there situations where he delivered people who he wants to be killed into somebody's hand? Yes. But for all intents and purposes, that man ain't got nothing to do with somebody murdering somebody. The nigga who murdered you is responsible for that. You know what I'm saying? But people want to say, well, the devil did it. If a child is born with a deformity, if you have some type of disease or malady, oh, that's a demon. Some of y'all may not come from that, but there's people who come from that where they say everything is a demon. You know what I'm talking about? And it don't be no demon because demons don't even operate like that. But people don't know that because they don't know what the book say. You know what I'm saying? So I'm only mentioning that again because I've been referencing. You have to be able to know the difference. Like, man, average person is not going through the text like you going through the text. You know what I'm saying? So they don't know that. They heard this person say it, this person say it, this person say it, this person say it. So they just automatically assume that it's in there. You know what I'm saying? You've heard people for your whole life say, God said, come as you are. He never said that. That's not even in there. That type of framework, you can come, and they basically talking about attire coming to church. That man ain't, there's no such thing in there. You know what I'm saying? The same way that you may have certain people who have a Christian influence feel like it should be a dress code for you coming to church. That's not a biblical thing. That's something that the preacher want to do. You supposed to just know to have how to behave yourself in the house of God. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you would already know how to behave yourself in the house of God. You shouldn't come in here butt a ball naked. You know what I'm talking about? You would already know that. You know what I'm talking about? So, and then when I mention this, because especially when you get to this particular matter, which is probably the matter that most people care about the most, is the end times, especially because it's a lot of focus on it. People make movies about it. You know what I'm saying? All type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's like, say, I just had a guy tag me, ask me why I was not allowed to preach, and he posted Isaiah 10, 20, and 21. Okay, I'll read that in a moment for everybody. He said, like Cain was on. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just like my dog say, him and his wife went to somebody's church. Lady say she was a prophetess. Lady say she come pull his wife to the side. Say his wife come back and tell him. The lady told her in some situations, I know the scriptures say your husband's supposed to lead, but in some situations you got to take the lead. And he would say, well, what did you say to her? That was wrong. But you'll be surprised how many, I'm only referencing it because You know what the text says as it pertains to that. And if somebody says they're a prophet or this, that, they're the third, and tell somebody that, somebody would take it, well, the prophet told me that, that's got to be what it is, even though the word don't intimate anything like that. Because it really got brought up because he was talking about people arguing about can women preach or not. I'm so far past that conversation, I don't give a damn. If that woman want to preach, then go preach then. What you need my validation and permission for? You know what I'm talking about? I'm not finna come listen to you. You know what I'm saying? But you can do whatever you want to do. And you have to get to that particular point because, see, a lot of people know the stuff that they're doing ain't right or the stuff they're saying is not correct, but they want that outside validation so they can feel more comfortable doing it. You know what I'm saying? Baby, if you felt like God sending you, what you trying to convince me for? You know what I'm saying? It would be evident in what you're doing. And just don't take that about no preaching. You just look at that all the way around the board. If God's standing for what you're doing, what you trying to convince me for? It would show. Like, I know y'all done heard about the book series and the movies, Left Behind, you know, all this stuff that people write. But the reality thing about the seals, the trumpets, and all that there is it's going to be miraculous things that are occurring, but it's not going to be this fantastical story that people would like it to be. Because that's what it was, Barry, what the dude mentioned. Why I even mentioned all that. Because he mentioned that it's not going to be a great, because this is what they be arguing about. Is Israel the church, or is the church separate from Israel? And I'm going to tell y'all something real, man. Dudes don't want when dudes say Israel is not the church, at that point, you saying that God is a liar. Now, when I say that, I need one of you gentlemen or one of you ladies to explain to me, if you say that the Israel has been replaced by the church, how by you saying that are you saying Yahuwah is a liar? Because it is. When you say that, you're saying God is a liar. And I would need someone to help to be able to properly explain that while I grab this Isaiah 10 and 20. Indeed, good sir. Indeed. All the promises of the prophets. Now I need you to will it down and be even more direct. This is Isaiah 10 and 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Yasharal and such as escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more stay upon him that smote him, but they shall stay upon Yahuwah, the Kadash one of Yasharal, in truth. The remnant shall return, the remnant of Jacob unto the mighty Elohim. For though your people Yasharal be as the sand of the sea, a remnant of them shall return, and the consumption decree shall overflow with righteousness. For Yahuwah Elohim of hosts shall make a consumption and even determine in the midst of the land. Now, why when you say that, if you're replacing the church with Israel and make God a liar, and this is something that a lot of people don't want to deal with, the man made a promise to Abraham, bro. You know what I'm saying? And niggas can say whatever they want to say. You can say Israel. That ain't got nothing to do with the oath that this man swore by his own name to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Matter of fact, Paul, come to Hebrews 6 to understand. And I'm mentioning this mainly because this is relevant and prevalent to understanding what's going on at the end and why it's moving like this. Because this gentleman said, see, the Jacob's trouble is just for Jacob and not the church. Do you understand? So he's saying the church is going to get raptured, for lack of a better term, but Jacob is going to be troubled. And that's not what this book says. It's just not. And that's unfortunate. But what it was I just mentioned, man. My God, today. Dang, I forgot. To that Left Behind doctrine I heard as a child started my panic attack. Yeah. And that's and they gave you panic attacks for no reason because none of it was biblical. Not now, tap of it. Not now, tap of it. Hold on, I'm trying to remember what I was going to grab. My God, today. Dang, I can't remember. Just been out there too. Say when someone uses Matthew 24:41 to allude to a rapture, how would you go as part explaining that? Peace, each man, that they incorrect. I wouldn't even spend my time explaining that. If you think that man talking about a rapture, I'm gonna let you think that. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Now, since you're not in the space that I'm at with it, when you come here to verse 37 of Matthew chapter 24, but as the days of Noah were shall be also the coming of the son of Adam be. For as the days in those days they were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the son of Adam be. Then two shall be taken in the field, and one and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, one taken and the other left. This is how you explain that. Jeremiah chapter 3. Jeremiah chapter 3. And look at what he says here. In Jeremiah chapter 3. Jeremiah 3, you can pick it up at verse 12. Go and proclaim these words towards the north, saying, return, you backsliding Yasharal, saith Yahuwah. I will not cause my anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith Yahuwah. I will not keep my anger forever. Only acknowledge your iniquity that you have transgressed against Yahuwah your Elohim, and you have scattered your way to strangers under every green tree, and you have not obeyed the voice of my voice, saith Yahuwah. Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahuwah, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. Simple as that. That's why he said that. Someone tried to make it a homosexual context. What's that, Mika, they tried to make homosexual? Isaiah 49, 14 and 16. But yeah, that's it right there. Take you one of a city, two of a family. Because there's no such thing as a rapture, if you would. Do you know what I'm saying? You say, I think the truth unedited pulled that. See, I've seen a verse from Philadelphia pulled about the hour of temptation as a type of rapture. That's terrible. That's more so of the wilderness thing that you see in Revelation 12 and mentioned in Isaiah 16. That everybody in the word is not necessarily going to suffer persecution and tribulation, but a great mass amount will, because this is how this man's name gonna be esteemed. A lot of people don't want to deal with the tribulation part because they don't want to go through it, because as we talked about the other day, that's when your character and your faith get tested. And now we're going to see who you really are. Isaiah 49, 14. But Zion said, Yahuwah have forsaken me, my Lord have forgotten me. Can a woman forget her suckling child? Hey, cut it out! Her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb. Yea, they may forget, yet I will not forget, because I have graven you upon the palms of my hands. Your walls are continually before me. And I think these are what Darius mentioned about, we mentioned in probably in regards to them lying, about saying that God is a liar, by saying he's gotten rid of Yasharal and replaced it with the church. But now thus saith Yahuwah that created you, O Jacob, and he that reformed you, O Yasharal. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. So, the two men in the bed, one take. Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Hey, y'all need to chill that out. Hey, come here, Joanne. Don't come in here with that noise. Hey. You hear me talking to you. Don't come in here with that noise. That goes for you too, little boy. When it comes to certain things, man, I don't know why people have such a fascination of trying to replace Israel for whatever reason. But nevertheless, the whole quote unquote end times is centered around them. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what people don't like to deal with. It's centered around them. The whole thing is centered around them. Now I want you to return to Revelation 8. Whatever I was going to after that, it slipped out of my mind. I can't remember it. It don't even matter. Let's come to Revelation 8 and 3. My page still tore up. I'm going to read 2 again. So I just want you to remember, Yahushua has overcome to loose the seals When he loosed the seventh seal, that releases the seven trumpets. You know what I'm talking about? And when he, this is verse 1. When he opened the seventh seal, there was silence at Shamahim about the space of half an hour. I saw the seven Malachim which stood before Elohim, and to them were given seven trumpets. And another Malachim came and stood before the altar, having a golden censer, and it was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which come with the prayers of the saints ascended up before Elohim out of the Malachim's hand. And the Malachim took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and earthquakes. And the seven Malachim, which had the seven trumpets, prepared themselves to sound. The first Malachim sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. And they were cast upon their rats, and the third part of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt. So, of course, you know, this is just to reiterate stuff that you already know. You come back to the book of Exodus, guess what you're going to see? Let's look and see. Verse 13, Exodus 9. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say unto him, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of the Abarim, let my people go that they may serve me. For I will this time send all my plagues upon your heart and upon your servants and upon your people, that you may know that there is none like me in all the Arats. For now I will stretch out my hand that I might smite you and your people with pestilence, and you shall be cut off from the Arats. And in very deed for this have I raised you up to show in you my power, that my name might be declared throughout all the Arats. And as yet exalt yourself against my people, and you will not let them go. See, pause. Now, when you come back to Revelation 13, what do you see that the beast does? This is in 13:6. It says he opens his mouth in blasphemy against Elohim, against his blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in Shamahim. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. Power was given him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. Now, you know that refers back to what's in Daniel 7, that he'll make war with the saints and overcome them. So this is what we see in Exodus, because that's what Pharaoh did. He exalted himself against his people. And that's what we read, that the beast, the man of sin, the son of perdition, the anti-Mashiach, whatever you want to call him, in Daniel 11, he's doing the same thing. Remember, there's nothing new under the sun. So it's going to be a repeat of what's already been done. Ain't nothing going to change. It's not going to be some great different variation of certain things. It will be miraculous things, but it's not going to be how people want to make it out to be. And people always want to make it out to be that the people of God are going to escape persecution. See, now when you came out of Egypt, you weren't persecuted. You didn't go through nothing. When you left Babylon, you didn't go through nothing. But if you recall, we read in Jeremiah 50 last week, 50 and about 3 and 4, that he said you'll come with your face near the ground, asking, weeping and asking for the way of Zion. Also, remember we read in Exodus 32, Deuteronomy 32, that this won't be over till he accomplished to scatter the power of the Kadash people. That's what it say in Daniel 12, but Deuteronomy 32 say the same thing. So that means that people are going to be humbled to a particular point where they have to look to their God and call on him for help. As it says in Psalms, you know, our help comes from heaven. You know what I'm talking about? Let me find that song for you. Shalom, Sister Virginia. Psalms 121 and 1. So I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence come my help. My help come from Yahuwah, which has made Shamahim and Arats. He will not suffer your foot to be moved. He that keep you will not slumber. Behold, he that keep Yasharal neither slumber nor sleep. Yahuwah is your keeper. Yahuwah is your shade upon your right hand. The sun shall not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. Yahuwah shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. Yahuwah shall preserve your going out and coming in from this time forth and forevermore. I can't answer that, man. I can't say either way. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's a multitude of things that have to occur that I can't say. You know what I'm talking about? Could be our children's lifetime. Could be your grandchildren's lifetime. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that the degradation of this world is definitely drifted in a particular direction, but also at the same token, at least here in America, because I can't speak anywhere else, nobody, the true gospel is being moved, but it's not being moved at a point where it's making particular people uncomfortable to the point that they want to persecute the people who dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely not happening, but who's to say? All it takes is one event to shift that particular narrative. But nevertheless, back to Exodus 9, verse 18. Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as not been in Egypt since the foundation thereof, even till now. Send therefore now and gather your cattle and all that you have in the field, for upon every man and beast which shall be found in the field and shall not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them, and they shall die. And he that feared the word of Yahuwah among the servants of the Pharaoh made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses. And he that regarded not the word of Yahuwah left his servants and his cattle in the field. I just want you to understand that when you see the plagues that happen in Egypt, the plagues go down and then they leave. So when these trumpets get blown, certain things go down and then you leave. Because on the seventh trumpet, that's when the Lord come back and it's over. You know what I'm talking about? But notice what he said. Those who feared the word of Yahuwah took all their servants and cattle and went in the house. Those who had no respect for what he said stayed right on outside. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, verse 22 of Exodus 9, stretch forth your hand toward Shamahim, that there shall be hail in all the land of Mizraim, upon man, upon beast, upon the herb of every field throughout the land of Mizraim. And Moses stretched forth his rod toward Shamahim, and Yahuwah sent thunder and hail, and fire ran along upon the ground, and Yahuwah rained hail upon the land of Mizraim. So there was hail and fire mingled with hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Mizraim since it became a nation. And the hail smote throughout all the land of Mizraim, all that was in the field, both man and beast. And the hail smote every herb of the field and brake every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the sons of Yasharal were, was there no hail. You know what I'm saying? And what we would call, what would it take called a wilderness? Or what we know that wilderness being in the land of Moab, based on what it says in Isaiah 16. That's the equivalent of Goshen. You know what I'm saying? That's the book of Revelation equivalent of Goshen. Simply that. You know what I'm talking about? Come on back to Revelation 8, though. And I just want, because we've dealt with this before, but there's people who may have not heard it or ain't ran across the videos where we dealt with it. These things that you see in Revelation is just mainly a replay of what happened in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? It's a replay of what happened in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? The beast's going to get tightened up. And it is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? Let's read verse 7 again of Revelation 8. The first Malachim sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon their rats, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. And the second Malachim sounded, and there, as it were, a great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea become blood. And y'all remember that the water becoming blood when Moses did it in Exodus. A third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. A third part of the ships were destroyed. A third Malachim sounded, and there fell a great star from Shamahim as burning with a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of the waters. And the name of the star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters become wormwood, because many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. The fourth Malachim sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. So a third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. Now, there's two instances in the book of Revelation with it going dark. Come to Revelation 16, and then we can read it in Exodus, and we'll get back to what that flying roll from Zechariah 5 and back to Revelation 19. Now, the main reason why we look at these things, because if you can look at them and see them plainly and explicitly, then when you look outside, remember remember the parable of the fig tree. When you see all these things, then you know it's near, even at the doors. Because what happens in this particular society, what do you see a lot? Something happens. People say, oh, that's a sign of the end. And they go to talking about this and talking about that. And then don't nothing happen after that. And all it does is to just destroy your credibility. I give you case in point. When I first came home in 2009, there was a whole bunch of earthquakes back to back. People went to screaming, oh, boy, the Lord coming back because of these earthquakes. But now here's my question unto you. What did the Lord say about earthquakes? What did he say explicitly and specifically about earthquakes? This is coming to the point where you have to pay attention to what he said and not juxtapose it and make it be what you want it to be. What did this man say explicitly and specifically about them earthquakes? I'm waiting on y'all. I know somebody knows. Somebody knows. You think about Zechariah 14, Emma. He did say in diverse places. Indeed, but it's not the end. Let's look and see. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 4. Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. So listen, look what he told you. You need to pay attention so don't nobody lie to you. See, one thing that you see in the text repeatedly is he tell you to listen. Or like I said in Hebrews, we do well that we take heed lest the things that we heard have slipped. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't take heed, then somebody can lie to you. So you have to take heed to what he said. For many shall come in my name and say, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. See, that go back to what we were talking about. Don't be shocked if Hashatan is turned into a Malachim alike. And he said they're false apostles and false messengers. He said, don't be shocked by that. Because if they're coming in his name, what are they coming as? They're coming as an ambassador. We talk about that, to the law and to the testimony. If they don't speak according to this word, there's no light in them. The testimony is dealing with a prophetic word. What is that dealing with? The testimony of Yahushua is the Ruach of prophecy. So if they're not coming with the law and the testimony of Yahushua, then there's no Shakar in them, or the day dawn, or the day spring. Like you can read in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. He said, okay, Hamashiach's not in, because he said he's the bright and the morning star. He said, if you overcome, he'll give you the morning star. That's what Peter said, till the day dawn arise in your hearts. So if you don't have that, then that man, okay, this man coming in his name, but he gonna deceive you. That's why we was looking at that stuff as it pertains to Satan. He came with the word like he was an ambassador. Shalom, Brother Margaret, but he ain't have it. See, everybody gonna want to make stuff be this, that, there, and the third. Man, you gotta have Yahushua, man, and it is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. That's why you say, man, don't say you got Abraham to your father. He able to raise children out of these stones to Abraham. You talking about your bloodline? That don't mean nothing. You talking about what seed you coming from? That don't mean nothing. That just give you first right of first refusal. But don't think that God needs you to keep his promise going. That's what it was. It was Hebrews 6. Let you who will be esteemed. Come back over here. Come over here, Hebrews 6. I mentioned this, y'all, right? He swore an oath to Abraham. And that's what people got to look at. You can scream church all you want to, but I just want you to see what this man said in this epistle letter. You know what I'm saying? Indeed, Omar. Hebrews chapter 6, right? Verse 13. For Elohim made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swear by himself, saying, surely blessing I will bless you, and multiplying will I multiply you. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. For men truly swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is to the end of all strife. Wherein Elohim, willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of the promise of the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things in which it is impossible for Elohim to lie, we might have a strong consolation who have fled for refuge, lay upon the hope set before us, which we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, which enter into that within the veil, whither the forerunner is for us entered, Yahushua made a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. Now, look at what you just seen. This man said he swore an oath to Abraham. That's why I said it don't. If you sit back and say, "Oh, he replaced Israel with the church," you just call this man a liar. Because I don't think people realize that it doesn't matter what Israel did or didn't do. He made a promise to Abraham. Then he confirmed that promise to Isaac. And then he confirmed that promise to Jacob. And then he said, okay, they broke that covenant. I'm going to make a new covenant with them. You can't change that. You can't make that be what you want it to be because you lied. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of people think that's a sign of unconditional love. It's a sign of his righteousness. And his love is contained in that righteousness. But that's not unconditional love. He's just so real that even though you sour and you did X, Y, Z, I'm going to devise a means to bring my banished back to me. That's why there's forgiveness with him that he might be feared. Simple as that. People don't like to look at it that way, but it is what it is. Now, where was I at before? Matthew 24. Indeed, say Paul and most people teach that the new covenant doesn't involve. Well, I mean, Paul don't teach that. You know what I'm saying? That's how people interpret that. He didn't say his laws didn't involve it. You know what I'm saying? It's just that the faith superseded, or the difference. So he let you know the laws are not of faith because he didn't promise Abraham a law. He didn't promise Isaac a law. He didn't promise Jacob a law. The law didn't even get them out of Egypt. You know what I'm talking about? Faith did. Because you got a passage where you say, you know, keep the ordinances as I deliver them unto you. So it's just not the primary focus of what make you righteous before God. You know what I'm talking about? Because you could keep the laws and be like Amaziah and your heart not be perfect towards God. So then you be children in whom is no faith. And now you feel like this man owe you. You know what I'm talking about? Versus you looking at you in a covenant that you broke, you in condemnation and degradation that you put yourself in, and you think because you did X, Y, Z, I owe you. Or like it relates to in Isaiah 64 when it said our righteousness are as filthy rags, and then that translates to the best deeds of a condemned people or a guilty people. Even though you did all this stuff still unclean before him because you guilty in my eyesight. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless. But, you know, people take Paul's words and make it seem like that's what he's saying when that man not saying that. You know what I'm saying? Because he even told Timothy that he ain't saying that. Say, if you know, the law is good if you use it lawfully. You know what I'm saying? It's like he said, I would have known sin if it said not to covet. But it's just not it's not gonna make you perfect. Because if it was gonna make you perfect, then what is there need for an atonement? Because you wouldn't need an atonement. You know what I'm talking about? So when people get into that, because there has to be a covering for sin, because at this particular juncture, the law can't get you out of your situation. That's why they had a day of atonement in the first place. But nevertheless, Matthew 24 and 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I'm a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So he said, you don't even need to have no trouble. You don't need to have no trouble. If you hear about wars and rumors of war, that's not the end. Don't even be concerned with that, thinking that it's going to be over with. He say, nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. He said, that's just the beginning of trouble. Just the beginning. So people see what should be the beginning, and they're saying that's the end. No, it's not. This is clearly what the man said. Ain't got to put no sauce on it. You ain't got to hit it with the fork. It say what it say. He said, when those things begin, then you shall be delivered up to be afflicted. They shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. See, this is the second point. We talk about this many times over the years. You're not going to be hated because you black. You're not going to be hated because you brown. You're not going to be hated because you were Israelite. He said you'll be hated for his name's sake. What does that take us back to? It said they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony, and they loved not their own lives to the death. And he went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and the testimony of Yahushua. Why is that important? Because we were talking about that those false apostles and those fake ministers of righteousness and this beast having an understanding of dark sentences. He's going to be coming out there, this man of sin, with this mystery of iniquity, because he has hidden counsel to have contempt of the law of God, to teach others who have indignation against the covenant to go against it. He going to be saying he God. He's the anointed one. He's the Savior. And you out here preaching Yahushua is the Savior. Yahushua is the Redeemer. Yahushua is Elohim. That's a problem. So that's where that Proverbs come in at that we've talked about the other day. The just are an abomination to the unjust, and the unjust are an abomination to the just. And there'll be enmity between the woman's seed and the serpent seed. And the children of the flesh persecute the children of the Ruach as it is this day. This is what all this come in at. This is why they hating you for his name's sake. That's why I say, man, to the law and to the testimony. If they don't speak according to this word, it's because there's no shakar in them, meaning Hamashiach ain't in them. Yahushua's not in them. Because he said, if you keep my commandments, he said, my Abba will manifest himself to you and we will make our abode with you. Because if you got to, hold on, pause for a second. Come on back, man. Let me just run this real quick. Come on back to Isaiah 8:20. Real quick, like I'm referencing it. I didn't want you to see it off the page. You could take it and do what you want to with it. You got a problem with it, take it up with God when you see it. This is Isaiah 8:20. To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it's because there is no light in them. Now I'm going to reiterate these words for those who may not have heard it the first time. What does that testimony mean? You know what the law means. That's the Torah. That's the instructions. But the testimony here is Todah, Tau, Ayin, U, Dalet, and Hey. Testimony, attestation, confirmation, testimony, prophetic. A prophetic testimony. What do we know Revelation 19:10 say? The testimony of Yahushua is the Ruach of prophecy. He said if they don't speak according to that word, that debar, it's because there is no shakar in them. Shan, cotton, raj, dawn, day spring, early, light, morning, whence riseth the dawn. Now, come to Revelation chapter 2. And we actually good in Matthew 24. We ain't got nothing else we need to. But matter of fact, yeah, I got one more thing in Matthew 24. Come to Revelation 2:26. To him, and he that overcome and keep my works unto the end, him will I give power over the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Abba. And I will give him the morning star. He that hath ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the synagogues. What is this morning star here in Revelation 2 that he said he gonna give you? Which is the same thing that if you speak into the law and to the testimony that you would have in you. Because if you're not speaking to it, you don't have the shakar or the day star or the day spring or the dawn or the light of the early morning in you. Morning star is promos, Astor. What is promos? Pertaining to the morning or pertaining to the dawn. So he's going to give you the dawn or the day star. Star is Astor, Astare, a star. Now, come over here to Revelation 22:16. I, Yahushua, have sent my Malachim to testify unto you these things in the assemblies. I am the root and offspring of David and the bright and morning star. Now, you already know, bright, lampros, shining, brilliant, clear, transparent, splendid, magnificent, luxuries or elegance and dressing style. So when he tell you this here, he's splendid and magnificent. Now, when you have morning here, you have Orthinos, which is early or relating to the dawn, as an epithet of Venus, especially bright, brilliant in the early day morning. Now, if it's referencing Venus, those of you who know what Hayel mean in Isaiah 14, they mean the same thing. It means the same thing. It means the exact same thing. I can pull that word for you so you can see it, but it means the exact same thing. Same word for star. And just for I mentioned it for informational purposes in Isaiah 14 and 12. That's Leviticus 14 and 12. How are you fallen from Shamahim, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How are you cut down to the ground, you which did weaken the nations? When you look at morning here, that is Shakar. When it says son of the morning, it's son of Shakar, or son of the dawn. The day spring, the light of the early morning, son of the dawn. When you look at Lucifer there, of course, it is Hayel, Hay, Lamad, and Lamad, light bearer, shining one, morning star. In the sense of brightness, the morning star. Now, of course, they have on here ascribing it to the king of Babylon, and then, of course, they added to Satan. Now, we were talking about this this morning. Like, I don't know if some of y'all are familiar with the book Dante's Inferno. Who is here familiar with Dante's Inferno? Is anybody here familiar with Dante's Inferno? It's what they call a divine comedy. Word, you say you done heard of it. The 7 levels of hell to get back his wife. Word. So Dante's Inferno is the where it first began to be promulgated that Satan is going to be in hell tormenting people. This is one of the instances we're referring to that people believe certain things that are not in the text because people say this. Most people have heard in their lifetime that Satan is going to be in hell tormenting people, poking people with pitchforks. Remember I told you about the lady say she saw Biggie in hell getting this and getting that. He said that junk so trash and tried to read it. It's real deal poetry. It is. You know what I'm saying? And so you got people who they really believe Satan gonna be in hell tormenting people. But guess what? We know the text say, get away, go into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. You know what I'm saying? Like nowhere in the word does it say that Satan have power and authority over the valley of Hinnom and that he gonna be tormenting people. It don't say that. It said he gonna be tormented. He's going to be punished. But it doesn't say that he's going to be punishing people. Nowhere in the word does it say this. But people take that. I mentioned that because LaJohn was the first one who ran across that book, the book by John Milton, Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the book that began the promotion that Lucifer was the devil. You can look this up. This is extra biblical stuff. This ain't just go research it. One thing that you have to remember is just because people say stuff, then people come up with verses, and because you've been trained and socialized to believe that, okay, that means that because this is what I heard all my life, we just accept it. You know what I'm saying? Now, we can read from Isaiah 14. It begins talking about the king of Babylon. You know what I'm talking about? So to say, okay, Lucifer is the king of Babylon would be fair. And yeah, and Joseph just mentioned Paradise Lost and False too. This is where all this stuff come up with Satan. You know what I'm saying? Because the Paradise Lost is the first book that refers to Satan as Lucifer. You know what I'm talking about? It's the first book that refers to that. There's nobody who walked around previous to that book being written that held that point of view. You know what I'm talking about? It just got co-opted for a long period of time and it stayed there. But when you sit back and you look at it, now if Lucifer is the son of the morning, remember we read the same book of Isaiah. If he's the son of the Shakar. Yeah. I just want you to think about that. He's the son of the Shakar. But to the law and to the testimony, if they're not speaking according to this word, there's no Shakar in them. Now, if the book says from the Lord's mouth that you above your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do, for he's a liar from the beginning, and there's no truth in him. That means he's not speaking according to the law and to the testimony. And if he's not speaking to the law and to the testimony, he can't have Shakar in him. Because let me tell you something real that most people not going to say. You can't fake Shakar. You can't fake that. You'll get exposed that you don't have that. See, a lot of people think that you can fake godliness. No, you can fake like you know what you're talking about, but you can't fake being godly. You either godly or you're not. You know what I'm talking about? See, when people see that there, man, they look at it, goes back to the key thing, man. You know what he said, hey, man look upon appearance, but Elohim look upon the heart. He told you out of the abundance that the heart speak, and by their fruits you're going to know them, because your heart is going to dictate how you behave. Because what come out your heart is going to be your behavior. That's why I say it's not what go into a man to defile him, but what come out. Because what's in your heart is what's going to come out. That's why I say a corrupt tree can't bring forth good fruit. And a good tree can't bring forth corrupt fruit. It's not possible for that to happen. But you know what most people get caught up on? Outward appearance and doctrine. You ain't really paying attention to their behavior. You're not paying attention to their lifestyle. So you're not really going to be able, you're not going to catch none of that. And that's when you're going to scream somebody deceived you. Man, ain't nobody deceived you, nigga. You deceived yourself because you weren't paying attention. What did we read that he said in Matthew 24? Take heed that no man deceive you. So if you're taking heed to the word, how you getting deceived? It's not possible. That's what we seen in the garden. She didn't take heed. She was able to be deceived. If you take heed to the word, no man can deceive you. It's as simple as that. You know what I'm talking about? So when you turn around in one passage and say, well, I'm taking heed to the law and to the testimony, I got the Shakar in me, but, oh, he's the son of the morning or the son of the Shakar, but that's the devil. Nigga, that's retarded. That don't even make common sense. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is when you hold to something and you don't want to let it go, you're going to fight against it. Me, myself, I ain't had nothing to fight against because I never cared. I never held the devil got to be Lucifer. That wasn't something I ain't never thought about. It didn't matter. See, it goes like this here, right? If you're an actual detective, if you would. Or, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Some detectives are piss poor because they see somebody that they think did a crime and they get so fixated on I'm going to charge them with this crime that they just ignore where the evidence takes them because they're fixated on this person. Now, consequently, with the word, we get fixated on things that we done heard, that we've been told, instead of going where the word take you. You know what I'm saying? If the word take me here and this is what it is, then this is what it is. It doesn't matter about what I thought originally. It doesn't matter what I think personally. It doesn't matter what the group is saying. If this is the direction the word is taking you, that's where the word is taking you. You understand? It's the same thing. That's why I mentioned that about, oh, they say the church replaced Israel. The word doesn't take me to that point of view. It doesn't take me there. I haven't come to that conclusion on what I see in the text. Even like what Rohan mentioned, where a lot of people grab Paul's letters and say he's teaching against the law. I have never came to that conclusion based off of where the text is taking me. I haven't seen that. I can't come to that conclusion. I'm not going to make it be that conclusion because the Christian church say that. No, I'm not going to take that conclusion because I don't see that in here. That's not what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? Say, being that he states that he's the morning star, is it synonymous with Jacob? No. They ain't got nothing to do with Jacob. It's referring to him being the day star or the day dawn or the light bearer or the bringer of light or the bringer of life, which is also what Aaron name means, because Aaron name means light bearer. You know what I'm saying? So you can sit back and look at it, especially when you look at it because it's not the same as Ore with light. So when he bringing the day dawn, he bringing life. You know what I'm saying? But I mentioned that because what we read about when he said he'd give you the day star and it related to Venus, and Hiel relates to Venus. And he's saying that that's what he's going to give to people who overcome. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't go back and read that. Again, I'm mentioning that. Hiel, the light bearer, the shining one, the morning star, Lucifer. Hiel, which relates to Venus. You know what I'm saying? So when you go back to Revelation 2, and you pick this up in 26 or 27, whichever verse it is, And he says that 28, that he's going to give you the morning star. And morning there is that pronios pertaining to the morning. Oh, I'm reading the wrong one. This is Revelation 22, my bad. When he said he's the bright and morning star, this is what he says about himself. Which is why some people turn around and see OC and say, oh, Jesus is the devil. Because he said he's Lucifer. This is where that stuff come in at. And now you wondering why these people who don't believe the word have the ability to open their mouth and say that, because we let John Milton and some Gentiles tell you that Lucifer was the devil. And now you got an old wicked nigga who don't believe in God telling you that he's saying he the devil because he's ascribing this name to himself. And we don't even pause and consider that. Why is this man calling himself that? And somebody saying this Satan. Why is Yahushua calling himself this? Nobody ever stops and pauses and consider that. Why is the Lord calling himself the morning star, which is Orthenios, matrilineal as the epithet of Venus, especially bright, brilliant in the early day, morning, early? Why is he calling himself the same thing? What's happening with you, man? And boy told me you had done jump back on this whole man. I'm glad you're able to jump back on this whole man. Say it came to mind when the angel said, let me go for the daybreak. No, you cool. Because that's referring to something else. Because the day star is not necessarily a name. You feel me? That's not necessarily a name. That's more of a noun. Well, you know what I'm saying? Not a noun. Let me see what it is. Let me grab this in 2 Peter 1, right? Because we read it the other day. When he tell you we have a more sure word of prophecy wherein you take heed as a light that shine into a dark place until the day dawn, until the day star arise in your hearts. He say when you think morning star, you think glory. Indeed. At least I would hope so. When you look at day star, phosphoros, the light bringing, giving light, the planet Venus, the morning star, the day star, a metaphor for Hamashiach. Now you got a different word with the same definition. You know what I'm saying? You got a different word, Greek word for day star, but the same definition that you see in Revelation 22 and 16, which is the same definition that you see in Isaiah 14 and 12. And it says specifically in 2 Peter that this day star is referring to the Lord specifically. Now, Imogen says she's always been confused by that. And it's understandable why it would be confusing. But remember, we have to be speaking according to the law and the testimony. If the testimony takes us to that's Yahushua, then that's where the testimony takes us. It don't matter what we thought before. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what everybody else taught us before. It don't matter. The planet Venus. Yeah, the planet Venus. Yeah. See, it's an adjective, my G. For phosphoros, as it pertains to day star. So it's a descriptive term. It's an adjective. That's right. You did put Isaiah 60. Let me get on over there. Well, let me check these so he can see if these are adjectives or nouns. When you got bright and morning, so I think they're all adjectives. Yeah, adjectives. So these are all descriptive terms. You know what I'm saying? Versus a name. Let me check Lucifer, see if that's a noun or an adjective. Now Lucifer is a masculine noun. So obviously that's a name. You know what I'm saying? But the morning star or the shakar, that's a masculine noun. The son of the morning. It's a masculine noun. But in the other ones, it's an adjective. Say people don't be wanting to hear that though. You just got two talking about that other day. No, they don't, and it's understandable. I mean, I get it. Isaiah 60 and 1. I get it. But what I'm referencing this for is just to go back to what we've been dealing with as far as last week and the thing with 2 Corinthians 12 and the Isaiah 8 and 20, that we have to be, amen, that testimony, that Torah, that's a prophetic testimony. You know what I'm saying? So it's dealing with the testimony of Yahushua. So that's what we have to speak according to. Because he said, if you're doing that, you got the day dawn in you. And Peter's telling you that, hey, we got a most sure word of prophecy that if you take heed, the day star will arise in your heart. You know what I'm saying? And Yahushua telling you he giving you the morning star. And he's saying he the bright and morning star. And we letting people tell us that's the devil. Because a white man said it. In a non-biblical book that was actually a piece of effectively Greek poetry. You know what I'm saying? Even though John Milton wasn't a Greek, when he wrote Paradise Lost, he was writing it along the lines of how Dante Inferno was written. You know what I'm saying? It's along the lines of how that book was written. You know what I'm saying? And we just take that and run with it. And then you want to ridicule people if they say, nah, that don't mean that. Okay, fine. They don't mean that then. I'm not going to argue with you. Say, when I find your teaching, I knew I had to unlearn a lot of error. So happy to be, well, praise be to you. Say the origin of Satan doctrine is actually, yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Origin and Tertullian's teachings. That's a fact. It's really changing my mind about the Greek-Roman impact on the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because see, you know what really happened, Rohan, to be honest with you, man? You got the Gospels, you got Paul's letters and James and all them, and then them men are dead, right? And then you got Gentile, quote-unquote, church fathers who came up with doctrines of men that have been perpetrated for the last 2,000 years, or perpetuated, for the last 2,000 years, and that they just been steady flowing on to where these men are dead, so they can't come through and rebuke that and be like, hey, that's not what I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? You done took this and made this here and made it this here, and that's not what I was talking about. Say so-called enlightenment teach that, because them church fathers, man, and them dudes be bitches like Tertullian and all them dudes, man. They made stuff up to satisfy them. They made stuff up, and look it up for yourself. Arise and shine, for your light is coming. The esteem of Yahuwah is risen upon you. For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, gross darkness the people. But Yahuwah shall arise upon you, and his esteem shall be seen upon you. And Isaiah 60 is referring to things that pertain to the deliverance of Yasharal. Keep it a bean with you. But nevertheless, let's come back to Matthew 24 real quick. Because what I can say, Rohan, is, you know, the Greek-Roman impact is not necessarily those epistle letters and gospels, but the interpretation of them. You know what I'm saying? Which people who don't deal with that side of the text, I would see why they would be offended by it. Some of them are only like that because they say, oh, it wasn't written in Hebrew. But I think even if it was written in Hebrew, some of them would still have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not coming how they believe those men should be flowing and going. But they're coming with the secret that was kept back from the foundation of the world. And it's just be hard for people to grasp. And when I say that, meaning that, you know, it ain't for everybody. And I think he said that throughout the word. Like even we read that Isaiah 10 that you mentioned, he said there's a remnant. He said, even though Yasharal is as the sand of the sea, I'm only taking a remnant. He said, you think it's not the author if people are arguing about it and pushing non-Torah, maybe it's just, see, this is the thing, right? When Paul makes a statement that God's not the author of confusion, that word confusion there is disorder. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. You're always going to have people arguing about word. That don't mean God got anything to do with it. That go back to the point I was mentioning before, like when people say somebody got shot and why did God do that? We have to learn that if these people is doing all that, then more than likely God not dealing with them people. You know what I'm saying? We'll never really pause and consider that and be like, you know what? Maybe God don't fool with these niggas. So just let me not go over here, because clearly they don't have no understanding. He ain't gave it to them. Because that doesn't take away from what's on the paper. That means these niggas just either don't believe or they ain't living it or both. You know what I'm saying? Then you on top of that, you got people who not of the bloodline trying to disseminate word. They ain't even got it. Because the word got to go to Israel first. You say make you think of Korah. So you know what I'm saying? So there's that. Let me read the Proverbs 19:3. But I get where you're coming from. But that's how I look at it, period. Because shoot, the scribes and Pharisees and Sadducees in the text was arguing word. People are always gonna argue about the word. Because a lot of people just want to be right. So ain't really nothing you can do about that. Say the foolish of a man pervert his way, and his heart fret against Yahuwah. Because, that's what a lot of people like to do. They like to argue and fight about the word because they done made it a penis sizing contest in this dispensation of time. But most of that stuff, man, especially looking in America, Rohan, you have to sit back and look at it. At this particular time, man, the word is commerce. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry for the most part. It's a way that people keep people fixated and controlled and moved in a particular situation and circumstance. Also referencing back to the early point, 95% of people don't even read the word for real, bro. You know what I'm saying? So they don't even know what's in it. So the people who doing most of the fussing, fighting, and arguing is so-called theologians, scholars, and seminary experts, and common people who just taking what the men said and fighting for what they've been told all their life. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, Jonathan was telling me about a situation like that. Man been in the organization 30, 40 years, and you coming to tell him, oh, man, your doctrine false, and you show it to him, it's going to be hard for him to let that go. It's going to be hard for him to let that go. You saying a hop, skip, and a jump from a political camp? Yeah, I seen a lady. You got people who try to make it seem like the Lord would. You think the Lord would be involved with the presidential election of the United States of America if he was alive? You think he would care about that? That's none of my concern, because he wasn't concerned what Herod then was doing politically. He cared about what you're doing to the people. He don't care about what. He's not going to be getting involved in abortion issues. You immigrate. He's not going to get involved in any of that. Because remember, he told you, render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's and unto Elohim's what's Elohim's. That's Caesar's problems. He's not going to be involved with that. Would he rebuke a politician to his face for his ungodly behavior? Absolutely he would. But you think he's finna be involved in politics and saying, hey, man, he don't care about that because that's y'all kingdom. Remember, he said, if my kingdom was of this world, my servants would fight. That's y'all stuff. So enjoy your time while you got it. Because sooner rather than later, I'm going to knock your whole head off your shoulders. And I'm going to take your government, nigga, and I'm going to pull it down. Because he don't got to overthrow it. Yahushua ain't got to protest. He ain't got to do no boy. I ain't got to do none of that, nigga. This man. And that will come the difference of when you know you have power and when you don't. Like how Bleak put it on 1-900 Hustler, the strong move quiet. The weak start riots. You understand? When you're in a weakened position, then you're going to throw what they consider basically to be a political temper tantrum. You're going to start a riot. You're going to burn stuff down. You're going to do this here. You're going to do that there. And that's cool. That's fine. I got insurance on this stuff. I don't care because that's not real power. That doesn't affect me. See, we think because we've seen in previous times, there's no knock to any of those men who put their lives on the line to do these things, because I'm not belittling, besmirching, or minimizing anything that they did, because they did what they perceived to be right in the time period they lived in with the information they had. So salute and respect to those men, irregardless to their religious affiliations, just as a man. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, you think this man was going to be out here talking about let's boycott some buses? And in our mind, we thinking that caused some effectual change because you could ride a bus, or okay, you're boycotting Target, and you thinking this, but in the real life, okay, you mad, you upset, you boycotting, cool, that's fine, but that's not no real power, so that don't bother me. That don't bother me. You know what I'm saying? That don't bother me because that doesn't affect my power. You know what I'm saying? I've said this before, and I know this here because I was into this type of stuff as a young man. You cannot economically advance yourself into power. You can't do it because you're using someone else's currency. That means you're a stranger. Strangers can't economically buy their way to power. You can't protest your way to power. You can't boycott your way to power. That's not how that works. That's why that seventh trumpet, when it get blown and it say the nations are angry because the time of their kingdoms have come to an end. Because Yahushua is not coming. He taking that. When you have power, you don't beg, ask, plead, or do none of that. You only do that when you have no power. So again, that's not to diminish anything that any of our people have done in previous times. Indeed, that's what I'm saying. Like you said, that is the choice of weapons of people who pour in mind and spirit. That's no knock on them. They did what they perceived what should have been done at that time with the resources that they had. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Because guess what? If we would have been alive in those times, we would have the mind of those people of those times, and we probably would have boycotted and rioted just like they did. Or followed the people who were doing it. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and say that you're going to have the mind that you have now in 2026, in 1955, in 1962. You would have been born in a different time, in a different culture, with different experiences. It would have crafted a different thought process. You know what I'm saying? So that's why there's no way we go sit here and say, oh, well, hey, however you feel about Martin Luther King, man, that's how you feel about it. It doesn't denote what they were doing. He could have been the fakest, flawless, wickedest bastard it is. That's fine. We can still sit over here. They was over there doing that. Malcolm was over here doing this. Fred Hampton and Huey Newton and Bobby Seale was over here doing this. Medgar Evers was over here doing this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they perceived to be the thing to do at the time. You know what I'm saying? But as Ernest said, and I always say power is taken because nobody gives power over willingly. Nobody says, you know what, you're right. We've had power long enough. Here you go. Like I see people on threads arguing it's time for the matriarchy. Like this here, baby. To put it short, ain't no woman on this planet a threat to nobody. There's nobody walking around here scared of no women. They'll let you believe that. They'll let you think that. But the reality is, nobody is. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is. And I'm referencing that because we were talking about this last week when we was reading about the vision in Revelation 12. It says that he went to destroy the man-child that the woman was going to give birth to. Like we were talking about this morning, where dudes would be like, don't say that the woman can't be no priestess because you don't read it in there. See, you know what the number one reason why a woman can't be a priest? Can anybody tell me the number one reason scripturally why a woman can't be a priest? I'm going to see how good your understanding is. And this ain't got nothing to go against women. This has to deal with, do you understand what the words say? That's fact. You say you can't work your way up to own a corporation. You got to start a whole new business if you want ownership. And that's a fact. He said, that's why I created it. Indeed, I already know, Rohan. I know what you were trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's fact. Power is definitely built over time. See Joseph concept with Joseph Rohan, that was a little different. Because the Pharaoh was in a troublous situation where he didn't understand something, and he had the power of God with him, and the Pharaoh acknowledged that, and God used him to put him there so he could be able to save his people. Unclean. And see, most people would say that, but them being unclean is not the reason why they can't be a priest. You know what I'm saying? Stanley mentioned Leviticus 15. Them being unclean is not the reason they can't be a priest. It's not the reason. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to dig a little deeper in your bag. I'll put it this way. It ain't got nothing to do with any bodily functions. There's two verses or two places in the text, you know what I mean? One in Numbers, one in Exodus. I help narrow it down for you to let you know why a woman can't be no priest. And it's in line with what I just said about Revelation 12. Numbers and Exodus let you know why a woman can't be no priest. Now, it won't be 1 Timothy 2 and 12. Now, it's not about even being deceived by Adam. Now, Darius put the Numbers 3 and 12. That's why I say you got to, this one here, you're going to have to go deep off in your bag. So let's go to Numbers 3 and 12, right? Now, Darius got the first one. I'll give you the second one. Numbers 3 and 12. And behold, I've taken the Levites from among the sons of Yasharal instead of all the firstborn that opened the matrix among the sons of Yasharal. Therefore, the Levites shall be mine, because all the firstborn are mine. For on the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, I hallowed unto me all the firstborn in Yasharal, both man and beast. Mine shall they be. I am Yahuwah. Let's come over here to Exodus 13. Now I'm going to give you what he referenced to them in Numbers. This is Numbers 13:1. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, sanctify unto me all the firstborn. Whatsoever open the womb among the sons of Yasharal, both man and beast, is mine. You know what I'm talking about? So because the Egyptians sought to kill the firstborn in Egypt, and then he killed all the firstborn in Egypt, then he said, I sanctify all the firstborn to myself. And then he said, instead of keeping the firstborn that come out of the matrix, I'm going to take the Levites, but I sanctify all the firstborn when I brought them out of Egypt. That's why. That's why. Ain't got nothing to do with anything other than that. Because he's telling you how the Levites got this job. Because if it wasn't going to be the Levites, it was going to be all the firstborn, which takes you back to when he said, okay, the general assembly and the assembly of the firstborn in Hebrews. You know what I'm talking about? Because every man who would be laboring in the ministry now would be born of a Mashiach. Therefore, you would be akin to the firstborn that come out the matrix, performing the duty that the firstborn was intended to do from the jump street. Say with Exodus 13 and 14 point. Probably so. It's further down in the chapter. So I would wait this off and look at it right now. Yeah. And it said that when your sons ask you in time to come, what is this? That you shall say unto me, by strength of hand, Yahuwah brought us out of Mizraim from the house of bondage. And it came to pass when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that Yahuwah slew all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrifice to Yahuwah all that open the matrix, being males, but all the firstborn of my sons I redeem. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. That's why a woman can't be no priest. Ain't got nothing to do other than that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I get that, Rohan, but I'm talking about literally being a priest. See, they can minister, they can serve, they can do all that, but she can't be no priest. She can't do none of that. And it's not because she's a woman. It's because simply I sanctify all the firstborn that come out the matrix for this cause, because they killed my firstborns, I killed their firstborns, and therefore I'm going to redeem. Let me get redeemed for you there. All the firstborn, and then I take you to testimony time, if you dig what I'm saying. Because he said all the firstborns I will redeem. Let's see what word we got for redeem here. Is it padah? And it is. To ransom, to rescue, to be ransomed, to be redeemed. So when we turn around and see when Yahushua say, hey, I came to make my life a ransom for many, and a ransom of a man's life is his riches. You know what I'm saying? Or that price of a life, in order to conform you to the image of the firstborn. Therefore, you get redeemed. You are part of that firstborn that he been redeemed, because everybody put on Yahushua HaMashiach. Or as we talked about plenty of times over the years, when Jacob had to put on the hairs and to get the blessing. You know what I'm saying? Isaac couldn't tell if he was the firstborn or not. He couldn't see him. But that's all it is. It ain't no deeper than that. A lot of people be wanting stuff to be, gender-based or none of that. It's just simply that. That's why I can see the unclean statement, why that would be made, because that's obvious. It's forth as, there's certain temple duties that can't be performed. But the reality is, it's because he redeemed all the firstborn males to himself. And he substituted the Levites for them. So that's why they can't do it. Because no firstborn daughters were slayed in Egypt. No firstborn daughters of the Egyptians were killed. He didn't hallow and sanctify firstborn daughters to himself. He didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because if he would have did that, if they would have been out to kill the daughters, and then he killed all the firstborn daughters in Egypt, then we would say, okay, men can't be priests because he sanctified all the firstborn daughters, and that's their job. It's simple as that, but people don't like that because people don't like to be excluded. You know what I'm saying? That's why I mentioned that earlier. Like, hey, if she want to preach, bro, let her. You think you should be going back and forth with somebody about that? Do what you want. You know what I'm saying? That's when people say God can use anybody he wants. That man ain't never said or did that before. He's never moved with I can use anybody I want. Do you know how retarded that is, man? I just want you to sit there and think about how retarded that is. Whoever you send is representative of you. And you say, I'm going to use anybody to represent me, no matter what they do, what they say, or how they behave. That don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. You know, he used the donkey. He didn't use a donkey to preach no word, nigga. It said the donkey rebuked the madness of the prophet, not took no word to nobody. He said they used Noah, he was drunk. Noah had already accomplished his task. He had already made the ark. He already loaded his sons and their wives and his wife on it. The earth been flooded. They done got off the ark. He's accomplished his task. He's already been a preacher of righteousness. What are you talking about? Don't even make sense. Separation causes rage, but there's a price to pay for favor like that. Indeed, and I'm only mentioning that there because that's also evidence of people don't read the book. So when you don't read the book, you don't know how he operates. You know what I'm saying? To say most people in the Torah only community say it takes all kinds. They base it off Yiftah and Gideon, and also come from that John the Baptist talking about y'all turn these stones. Yeah, man, people make stuff up, bro. And you know that. I'm saying no unclean can be in the sanctuary. Women aren't supposed to be soldiers, and that's a fact. And then the Levites are warriors. You know what I'm saying? Which is a part of that Deuteronomy 22:5 to an extent when they're talking about warrior garments, because the women ain't warriors. Man ain't sending no women out to fight no battle. The women ain't walking around carrying swords talking about we finna war against the Gentiles. People ain't doing that. Like, no, that's not what's happening. You know what I'm saying? But people get offended by things. And you have to learn to let people be offended or let people do what it is that they want to do. Okay, baby, do what you want. What I care for? I ain't finna stop you. I'm not even finna try to convince you to stop. Because clearly he's giving you a mind for you to go do this, go do it and flourish, baby. Go do it and flourish. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? When you be more focused on, I'm be focused on what it is that I need to do, instead of trying to convince people to do what you believe they should be doing, then you'll be good. Only thing you can do is give information and dip. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, man, I ain't going through all that with you. You see, people kill me with that discussion. Ain't no one whipping no Gentiles without angels. And I had to leave pro-black circles because of that. No, I can dig it. I get you. I can dig it. I just ain't on that, man. I've been in this word too long to be sitting back, going back and forth with people about if a woman can preach or not. Go preach then. And if people gonna follow you, then let them follow then. I don't care. Because I'm being honest with you. It don't matter who it is. If you trying to convince people that God has given you the ability to do something, he probably didn't. Because if you believed and perceived that God gave you the ability to do something, guess what you would do? You would just go do what he sent you to do. You wouldn't be trying to convince nobody of it. You would just go do it. You would just go do it. You know what I'm saying? You think John the Baptist was out here trying to convince people? You think Yahushua was out here trying to convince people? He said, if you don't believe me for the works of my words, he said, believe me for my works. Say, what are you talking about trying to convince you people, man? The proof in the pudding. You either accept it or you don't. But I got work to do. And that's the mentality that you got to have. You know what I'm saying? That's the mentality you got to have. You got work to do. You ain't got time because you wasting time. Back to Matthew 24, man. You wasting time, man. Ain't no need of all that. Because the time you trying to convince these people, you could have been moving some word, blood. You could have been moving some word. And when I say moving some word, I ain't even necessarily talking about preaching no word, man. I'm talking about everything that pertains to it. Like what we talk about in Romans 12, what you talk about in 1 Corinthians 12, you could be doing that. You could be serving in some capacity instead of trying to convince somebody that God gave you the ability to serve. Man, just go serve, blood. Just go do that. But Matthew 24:10, man. Well, 24:9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you. You shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. Many false prophets shall rise and deceive many, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Be he that endure to the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached into all the world for a witness unto all the nations, and then the end shall come. That's where the two witnesses come in at. They're a part of that. That ain't happened yet. So until you see these famines, pestilence, and earthquakes at the beginning of sorrows, and then people are taken and delivered up to be killed, and then people start turning on each other, who in the word delivering you up, all the while when that's happening, the gospel of Yahushua being promoted in the earth, then the end gonna come. Till then, you got to remember that's the same thing happened before the end of Egypt. Man, Moses was preaching the gospel to them people. And then when the time their iniquity was to the full, then the end came. It's the same pattern. It's the same pattern. You know what I'm saying? It's the same pattern. And I went through all that just to establish so that we could see that it's the same pattern as when we came out of Egypt. Back to Revelation 8. We got to get off here in a minute. Then I'll go back and read Revelation 19. Did I read all of Revelation 8? I didn't read where it said that we went to read the darkness. I needed to read Revelation 16, where he do the same thing. Because then that's when the 7 plagues get poured out. And one of those plagues in Revelation 16 and 9, or 10, and the 5th Malachim poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. And then, of course, when we come over here to Exodus, we see the same thing that he did to the Egyptians. He brought darkness on the entirety of their kingdom. What is this? Chapter 9, where is that? Chapter 10, verse 21, book of Exodus. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, stretch out your hand toward Shamahim, that there may be darkness over the land of Israel. Darkness may be felt. Moses stretched forth his hand toward Shamahim, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Mizraim 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the sons of Yasharal had light in their dwellings. You know what I'm talking about? And you think it's going to be any different in that time? You think those who serve God ain't going to have light in their dwellings? Because they is. They is. Come on back over here to Revelation. Did I read the last verse in chapter 9? And then go back to 19? This is coming from the flying roll in Zechariah, and I'll reread that before we get off here. This is Revelation 9, and I was in 8. I was in 8, my bad. It was 8 and 12. I'll read that again. And the 4th Malachim sounded, and the 3rd part of the sun was smitten, the 3rd part of the moon, and the 3rd part of the stars. So as the 3rd part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a 3rd part of it, in the night likewise. And behold, I heard a Malachim flying through the midst of Shemahim, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the Arats by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 Malachims, which are yet to sound. Now I'm going to read Revelation 11, actually 15, with the 7th trumpet. Because that's where you see that with the 2 witnesses, or in chapter 11. And the 7th Malachim sounded, and there were great voices in Shamaim, saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Elohim on their seats and fell upon their faces and worship Elohim, saying, we give thanks, O Yahuwah Elohim Almighty, which are, was, and are to come. Because you have taken you great power and have reigned, and the nations were angry, and your wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and you should give reward unto your servants, the prophets, to the saints, and to them that fear your name, small and great, and should destroy them that destroy the earth. Because he taken power. He taken that from them. You know what I'm saying? They're not giving it up. You got to take it. Go back to Revelation 19. Because remember, it say all the nations getting gathered in Revelation 17. Now, of course, obviously, it also tell you that's of God to cause these people to do it. And it also says the same in Daniel. But these people not giving up no power, man. That's just not how, as people like to say, power is intoxicating and it corrupts. And once people get that taste and feel of power, they don't want to release that. They don't want to release that. Especially when you live in a country where you're considered to be a lesser class and you subjugate it. You understand? So when you subjugate it, these people don't want to give up the power that they have over you, because they don't want to give up the. Remember in Babylon, and with Babylon, when Babylon is destroyed, it says the nations mourn because they got rich off of her delicacies. As a matter of fact, it's right here in my face. Let me grab this real quick, man. Right here in verse 15. The merchants of, this is Revelation 18, the merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches has come to nothing. Every shipmaster, all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by the sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, Alas, that great city wherein we were made rich, all the ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. Of 1 hour she is made desolate. Because that's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? Even when you look at the destruction of Egypt, you feel me? He destroyed, especially when you look at it, that these were agricultural people at that time. So when he's sending down locusts to eat up their crops, and hail mingled with fire that's burning up the grass and turning the waters into blood and things of this nature, it's destroying how these people make their money. You know what I'm talking about? And then I'm gonna kill your children, then I'm gonna kill your armies. Because remember, it was Yahuwah that brought those armies to that battle for them to be drowned in the flood. Remember, he got the waters abated so it looked like a valley. Same thing he doing at the end. I'm going to give you a heart to come back and fight. And nigga, I'm going to kill you. My people not going to kill you. I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? This is part of the reason so that those who are of his people would know this is the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Elohim that brought Yasharal out of Egypt. So you can know that's me who doing it. He ain't doing nothing different. So you think it's another God, you're going to know it's me. But come on back to Revelation 19 and 11. You pay attention to it, man. You see it's I'm Yahuwah Elohim, I change not. That's why he say, fear not, Jacob. I'm Yahuwah, I change not. You will not be consumed. That's why he say that. And I saw Shamahim open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful, True, and in righteousness he do judge and make war. In his eyes were the flames of fire, on his head many crowns. He had a name written that no man knew but he himself, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Elohim. Why is that important? When we turn back to Zechariah 5, and we look at verse 3, or verse 4, I should say. Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, Why, what see you? And he answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, the breadth thereof 10 cubits. And he said unto me, This is the curse that go forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that steals shall be cut off on this side according to it. Everyone that swears shall be cut off as on that side according to it. And I will bring it forth, saith Yahuwah of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, into the house of him that swear falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. And when you look at a flying roll, one roll, you got Migalah, Meme, Gamal, Lamad, Hey, a roll, a book, a writing, a volume. You got a flying book. What that tell you? Coming through the heavens. And that's oof for fly, ayin, oo, and pay, to fly, to hover, to cause to fly, to cover, to be dark, so on and so forth. But that's the word Elohim, like you read in Revelation 19, coming to consume it, to cut them off. You know what I'm talking about? We'll get to verses 5 through 11, man, with the ephah of iniquity, y'all willing on Shabbat, man. And then we can get to them chariots or those horses that you know from, the pale horse and all that stuff that's in Revelation. You can see where it's in Zechariah. For those who ain't familiar with it, and for those who are familiar with it, it'll just be a rehashing of what you already know. So hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. I appreciate your time this evening. Bless y'all out in the name of Yahushua. You who with it, man. We'll be back at it on Shabbat. You can check the community page, the dates and all that. It's over there, man. You see what I'm talking about? Yes, sir, man. Hold it down, my G. And yeah, peace, brother, my man. You know what I'm saying? And we'll rock it out like that. So I appreciate y'all time this evening again. I bless y'all the house, in the name of Yahushua. Love y'all. Y'all with it, man. We'll come back on Shabbat, man. Make it do what it do. Amen, man. Amen, man. All right, y'all. I'm out of here, man. Peace, brother Joseph, man. Love you too, man. Praise you indeed, man. Hold it down, Marcus, man.